Speaker number 5, Bonnie Patterson, Death, Life, and Dharma. Death, Life, and Dharma, Bonnie Patterson.
November 21st, 2008. I woke up with the urge to pray, but at this time in my life, prayer wasn't really a part of it anymore. I didn't know who or what God wanted me to pray for, so I just went back to sleep. And then I woke up an hour later with the call. Bonnie John's dead. He died an hour ago. I didn't believe her. I hopped in my car. I rushed over to his house just in time to see the fire department washing what was left of my best friend off of his car. You see, John was my first love. He was my first kiss. He was my childhood best friend. We were just two good kids from Brookshire Elementary that went on two separate yet equally dangerous paths in life. Mine led to an abusive and controlling boyfriend who forbid me from seeing him because they were in two rival gangs. And so we hadn't connected in years until just 3 months before that night. We had picked up right where we left off. So to hear that I had lost him indefinitely, I couldn't stomach it. I felt like my heart had been ripped out. I felt like it had been trampled on. I never knew pain so deep. Nights and days were so dark, I could not function. I was barely taking care of my kids. I would show up for class, hair and teeth unbrushed. You could tell I hadn't showered in days. I didn't know how I was going to go on, and I just remember begging and praying to God, please take this pain away. I started to pray for the peace that surpasses understanding, like I had heard people in church say. I kept praying that prayer, and he heard me. It was like one day the blackout curtain had finally been taken off of my eyes and I could see the light of day again. I found joy and I had hope again. I got involved in church again. I got involved in ministry. I had decided that if I could save one teen's life and keep him from going down the same path that my friend went down, that his life was not in vain. So through my best friend's death, I found and I discovered my life's dharma. Flash forward to December 2014, I had just graduated SAGU University, that stands for Southwestern Assemblies of God University. I got my degree in theology and ministry, and I was ready to change some teens' lives. I was ready. I'd been serving for years. I'd led missions trips, led retreats, camps. I was taking in kids from all over Orlando. I was ready to serve. So you can imagine my disappointment when, after applying to 30 plus churches and getting rejected, getting ignored, or getting the runaround, starting to wonder, I was this close to getting hired at Elevation Church with Stephen Furtick. I made it to the second interview, but just like the dozens of others, that didn't work out either. I tried to stay strong. I didn't want to believe that God had brought me this far for nothing. He took me out of nursing school, a very stable career, to go into ministry. I didn't want to believe that. After nearly applying for almost a year with stellar credentials and references. But after I realized that that dream was not going to come to fruition, I began to spiral down again to that all too familiar dark place. This time, instead of 2 months, it was 2 years. I was humiliated. I felt like a joke. I felt like a failure. And eventually, I just fell away from God again. I cut off ties with all of my church family. I was too embarrassed to show my face. I didn't want my students to see that especially my female students, I didn't want them to see that this didn't work out. I started just going from work to home, straight to my room with no less than a bottle of wine of night. Started neglecting my kids again. During the day, though, I made sure to stay high so that I could block out that resounding voice of my inner critic telling me what a failure I was. I was so tired of fighting. It wasn't just a dream that died. It wasn't just a dream. It was a piece of me. It was my spirit. I died. And I needed to. In my religion, I'd become legalistic. I became judgmental in my faith. I was small-minded and I was bound by a scarcity mindset. That Bonnie had to die in order for the intuitive innovative, and abundant Bonnie that you see standing before you today. I couldn't see it then, but the perception of who I thought I was going to become was so small compared to what God had in store for me. My years in ministry were not in vain. It wasn't a cruel joke from God. I needed those years to understand how people change and how I could cultivate and inspire lasting and transformational change in people's lives. Khalil the prophet said, everyone has a purpose in life, a unique gift, special talents to give to others. And when we blend that talent with service to others, we experience ecstasy and exaltation of our own spirit, which is the ultimate gift of gifts. And I truly believe that. I also believe that pain without a purpose is like torture, but if you can find a purpose from your pain, if you allow it, you can experience life-changing transformation. We've all experienced death in one form or another. We've all experienced pain, some more than others. But I truly believe if you can allow that pain through the losses and yes, even death, if you can allow that pain to have a purpose, then you will have found your life's dharma. So in other words, through the pain that we experience, there's birth in new life, and we discover our dharma. Fellow Toastmasters.